Hi, I'm Harpreet again. So far, we read what we meant by sexual harassment and how the act needs to be implemented. In this module, we'll get more familiar with constitution and working of internal complaints committee. Structure of Module 3. It deals with constitution of ICC, procedure of filing a complaint, inquiry under ICC, powers of ICC, LCC, sensitization of and education of workforce, action items for employers and employees to prevent sexual harassment, how to settle sexual harassment cases, multiple choice questions. Constitution of Internal Complaints Committee. The redressal mechanism provided in the Act is in the form of Internal Complaints Committee and Local Complaints Committee. All workplace employing 10 or more than 10 workers are mandated under the Act to constitute an ICC by an order of the employer in writing. The ICC will be having 4-member committee under the chairpersonship of a senior woman employee and will include 2 members from amongst the employees, preferably committed to the cause of women or has experience in social work, legal knowledge, and include a third party member from some NGO as well. The members of the ICC shall hold office for a period of 3 years from the date of their nomination appointment. A presiding officer or any member of the ISCC or LCC can be removed in the following circumstances: if he or she contravenes the provision of section 16 of the POSH Act, he has been convicted for an offence or an inquiry into an offence under any law for the time being in force is pending against him, if he or she has been found guilty in any disciplinary proceedings or a disciplinary proceedings is pending against him, if he or she has so abused his or her position as to render his continuance in this office prejudicial to the public interest. Procedure of filing a complaint. An aggrieved woman can make complaint of sexual harassment in writing to the ICC if constituted, or to the LCC in case ICC is not constituted within a period of 3 months from the date of the incident, and in case of a series of incidents within a period of 3 months from the date of last incident. Where such complaint cannot be made in writing, the presiding officer or any member of the ICC or the chairperson or any member of the LCC should provide all reasonable assistance to the aggrieved woman for making the complaint in writing. As per Rule 6 of the POSH rules, where the aggrieved person is unable to make a complaint, any of the one of the following may file the complaint on her behalf. In case of non-filing is on account of her physical incapacity, complaint can be filed by her relative or friend, her co-worker, or an officer of the National Commission for Women or State Women's Commission, or any person who has knowledge of the incident with the written consent of the aggrieved woman. On account of her mental incapacity, her relative or friend, or a special educator, or a qualified psychiatrist or psychologist, or the guardian or authority under whose care she is receiving treatment or care, or any person who has knowledge of the incident jointly with her relative or friend or a special educator or qualified psychiatrist or psychologist or guardian or authority under whose care she is receiving treatment or care. Where the aggrieved woman for any other reason is unable to make a complaint may be filed by any person who has knowledge of the incident with her written consent. Where the aggrieved woman is dead, a complaint may be filed by any person who has knowledge of the incident with her written consent of her legal heir. Time limit. A complaint of sexual harassment can be filed within a time limit of 3 months. This may be extended to another 3 months if the woman can prove that grave circumstances prevented her from doing the same. Inquiry under ICC. The committee is required to complete the inquiry as per service rules applicable to the respondent and in their absence within a time period of 90 days. On completion of the inquiry, the report will be sent to the employer or the district officer as the case may be. Action is required to be taken on the report within 60 days. The committee may, in case where prima facie case is made out, may recommend to the employer or the district officer to take any action, including a written apology, warning, reprimand, or censure, withholding of promotion, withholding of pay rise or increments, terminating the respondent from service, or undergoing a counseling session, or carrying out community service. In case the complaint has not been proved, then the committee can recommend action in accordance with the provision of service rule or applicable rules under the Act where such service rules do not exist. The committee can also recommend deduction of an appropriate sum from the salary of the respondent or ask respondent to pay the sum. In case the respondent fails to pay such sum, district officer may be asked to recover such sum as an arrear of land revenue. In case the allegation against the respondent has not been proved, then the committee can write to the employer district officer that no action needs to be taken in the matter. In case of malicious or false complaint, then the Act provides for a penalty according to the service rules. However, this clause has a safeguard in the form of an inquiry prior to the establishing the malicious intent. Also, mere inability to prove the case will not attract any penalty under this provision. This Act also has provisions for providing relief to the aggrieved woman in the interim period, including leave and transfer during the pendency of the inquiry. The Act prohibits disclosure of the identity and addresses of the aggrieved woman, respondent, and witnesses. However, information regarding the justice secured to any victim of sexual harassment under this Act without disclosing the identity can be disseminated. Manner of inquiry into complaint. Rule 7 of the POSH rules provide the manner of inquiry into complaint. The complainant needs to submit to the complaints committee 6 copies of the complaint along with supporting documents and the names and addresses of the witnesses. On receipt of the complaint, the complaints committee shall send one of the copies received from the aggrieved woman to the respondent within a period of 7 working days. The respondent needs to file his reply to the complaint within a period of 10 working days from the date of receipt thereof. The complaints committee shall make the inquiry into the complaint in accordance with the principle of natural justice. The complaint committee shall have the right to terminate the inquiry proceedings or to give an ex parte decision on the complaint if the complainant or respondent fails without sufficient cause to present himself or herself for 3 consecutive hearings convened by the chairperson or presiding officer as the case may be by providing a 15 days advance notice in writing to the concerned parties. The parties shall not be allowed to bring any legal practitioner to represent them in their case at any stage of the proceedings before the complaints committee. In conducting the inquiry, a minimum of 3 members of the complaints committee, including the presiding officer or the chairperson, as the case may be, shall be present. Powers of ICC LCC. For the purpose of making an inquiry under the POSH Act, the ICC or LCC, as the case may be, shall have the same powers as are vested in a civil court under the Code of Civil Procedure 1908 when trying a suit of the following matters, namely summoning and enforcing the attendance of any person and examining him on oath, requiring the discovery and production of documents, any other matter which may be prescribed. During the pendency of an inquiry, the ICC or LCC, as the case may be, on a request by the complainant in writing, may recommend the following: transfer the aggrieved person or the respondent to any other workplace, grant leave to the aggrieved woman up to a period of 3 months, grant any other relief to the aggrieved woman as may be prescribed. The complainants committee, at the written request of the aggrieved woman, may recommend to the employer to restrain the respondent from reporting on the work performance of the aggrieved woman or writing her confidentiality report and assign the same to another officer, restrain the respondent in case of an educational institution from supervising any academic activity of the aggrieved woman. Sensitization and education of workforce. The Act casts a responsibility on every employer to create an environment which is free from sexual harassment. Employers are required to organize workshops and awareness programs at regular intervals for sensitizing the employees about the provision of this legislation and display notices regarding the constitution of internal committee, penal consequences of sexual harassment, etc. Rule 13 of the POSH rules provides for the manner of organizing workshops for dissemination of information about POSH. It requires to formulate and widely disseminate an internal policy or charter or resolution or declaration for prohibition, prevention, and redressal of sexual harassment at the workplace intended to promote gender sensitive safe spaces and remove underlying factors that contribute towards a hostile work environment against women, to carry out orientation programs and seminars for the members of the internal committee, to carry out employee awareness programs and create forum for dialogues which may involve panchayati raj institutions, women groups, mother committee, urban local bodies and any other body as may be considered necessary, to conduct capacity building and skill building programs for the members of the internal committee, to declare the names and contact details of all the members of the internal committee, to use modules developed by the state governments to conduct workshops and awareness programs for sensitizing the employees with the provisions of this act. An employer must know the following. First and foremost, acknowledge that it is employer's legal responsibility to provide safe working environment for women free from sexual harassment and discrimination, that you can be held liable for sexual harassment by employees. To know that sexual harassment can have a devastating effect upon the health, confidence, morale, and performance of those affected by it. To understand the reasons why women remain silent about sexual harassment An absence of complaints about sexual harassment does not necessarily mean an absence of sexual harassment. It may mean that the recipients of sexual harassment think there is no point in complaining because nothing will be done about it, or it will be trivialized, or the complainant will be subject to ridicule, or they fear reprisals. To recognize the tangible and intangible expenses and losses that organization may experience, like costly investigation and litigation, negative exposure and publicity, embarrassing depositions, increased absenteeism, lowered employee morale, reduced productivity, decreased efficiency, negative impact on stock prices. The best way to prevent sexual harassment is to adopt a comprehensive sexual harassment policy. The aim is to ensure that sexual harassment does not occur, and where it does occur, to ensure that adequate procedures are readily available to deal with employee responsibilities. To report sexual harassment to the appropriate person in the organization, explore the different avenues available to you, and file a formal complaint if necessary. To identify, recognize harassment, do not blame yourself. Don't ignore sexual harassment in the hope that it will go away. Speaking about sexual harassment is an effective tool in combating it. Be sure to say no clearly, firmly, and without smiling. That is the best way to let the harasser know that his behavior is offensive. To keep track of what happens in a journal or diary and keep any letters or notes or other documents you receive. Write down the dates, times, places, and an account of what happened. Say no emphatically and clearly when you are asked to go to places, do things, and respond to questions or engage in situations that make you uncomfortable. Trust your own instincts and about possible danger. In an uncomfortable situation, be direct and honest and remove yourself from the situation immediately. Tell someone being quiet or stoic about sexual harassment, let it continue. Talk to other co-workers. You may not be the only one harassed by this person. Create a witness to the behavior. Inform a trusted colleague and try to ensure that she is an eye or an ear witness to a situation where you are being sexually harassed. Get a medical checkup. If you have been raped or physically assaulted, go for a medical checkup. Obtain a medical report. Documenting the harassment is important for use as evidence in a case or complaint. You should photograph or keep copies of any offensive material at the workplace. Settlement of cases under POSH. To settle cases amicably, the Act has a provision for conciliation. The ICC LCC can take steps to settle the matter between the aggrieved women and the respondent. However, this option will be used only at the request of the women. The Act also provides that monetary settlement shall not be made a basis of conciliation. Further, if any of the conditions of the settlement is not complied with by the respondent, the complainant can go back to the committee who will proceed to make an inquiry. Conciliation under Section 10 of the POSH Act. The internal committee or the local committee, before making an inquiry in the following section, may at the specific request of the aggrieved woman take steps to make settlement between her and the respondent through conciliation. No monetary settlement be made for the purpose of conciliation. If a settlement is arrived at, the internal or local committee, as the case may be, record such settlement and forward with recommendation to the employer or the district officer to take action as specified. The committee shall provide the copies of the settlements so arrived. This brings us to the end of the module. Thank you for your attention. Feel free to play this video as many times as you wish. You may also wish to download the same. Just to remind students again, you get complete free and downloadable course material and ILM copyrighted ebook upon finishing of your course and submission of your assignment. You may click on Move to Next Unit at the bottom of this page. This will take you to multiple choice questions. The MCQs will be directly or indirectly related to the information contained in the present module. If you still have any questions or clarifications, feel free to write to us at registrar@ilm.academy. If it's a weekday, we will respond to you on the same day itself. As always, ILM wishes you good luck for your very bright professional career ahead. Thank you.